Welcome to another episode of Concrete Mystique, the podcast. Today, I want to say that it is the Rick and Rick Show Part 2. And when I say that, I don't mean that Rick Thomas is here again, but instead it is the Rick and Rich Show because I have Jenna and Richard Greenwalt with me today. And we were joking about this as soon as we finished the last episode with Rick Thomas. Right away, they started messaging me about being Richard also. We both grew up with the name Richard, but we didn't go by Richard once at all. On top of that, we're supposed to have Captain T here today, but he decided that we are not important enough, that his kids are more important than us, which I just don't know what to say about that. I mean, I love my kids, but I would rather be podcasting than watching them play baseball. Wouldn't you? I mean, come on.
Amen.
So first, thank you for joining the show. Thank you very much for joining the show. We have lots to talk about. I've been so excited since I met you guys, and let me backtrack with that and say we really haven't met. This is really the first time we've ever talked. We were right there at the same show, and I walked by you guys, and I stared at you, and I was like, "Oh, they're not saying anything to me. Okay, I'm going to leave them alone." You know, I was like, I don't know if you guys are talkative, chatty, want to introduce yourselves. You never did. I didn't want to bother you. I didn't know if you were, so I just kind of like watched from a distance the entire time thinking, someday we'll talk to each other. And here we are, first time ever talking to each other.
Perfect. So it's kind of funny because we were doing the exact same thing with you.
Yeah, we kept saying like, I saw him. I want to chat with him at some point, but you know how it is in those shows. We're just so busy.
Yeah. Right. And with that said, you had your whole family with you.
Right? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't. So usually in the evening is when I get to have that time talking to people, and I did a lot of staring to try to see if I got your attention. And a couple times you looked at me, and I was like, okay. So that's really funny that it was going both ways because a lot of times I just go up and meet people, but you never know. Like it depends, and so you know.
We did actually. The last year that you competed, we stopped at your booth and we did talk to you very briefly. I don't even think we even said who we were. We were just complimenting your work or, something like that really quick.
Oh, wow. So that's funny because I usually ask all the time if we ever met, when was the first time we met? And here we are. There's a moment I do not remember at all. And that's why I asked that question.
So technically we did meet in 2025.
Okay, so last year while I was doing the mirror floor.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And was I polite? Was I disturbed because I was too busy? Did I chat with you? Like, how did I handle myself? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You were polite. You explained that that you were an artist and that you did 3D art, and you showed me some of your other art on your phone, your cell phone.
Paintings?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, good. So you know a little bit more about my world than I know about my world. That's great.
Yeah.
Did I also tell you I was colorblind?
Yes.
It's funny. We're already talking about my artwork. So here we are, Nick Fleming. It took only a couple minutes into the show, and I'm already talking about my background. So, he gets a kick out of how many times I mention I have a master's. So I'm going to call him now and see if he catches that.
You should just put that right into the intro now.
Well, it's funny you say that because I always think that I should be called Master Rick. And
there you go.
When I go, like, for example, my son was taking Kung Fu class from Master Stevens. And when I first met him, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a master also. Why does nobody call me Master Lobdell or Master Rick? And I talked to him about it. I was like, that's kind of not cool. Like, I have a degree. I worked just as hard at this as you did. I'm not saying you don't deserve it either, but I worked really hard to get that too. Why am I not Master Lobdell? And it's just so funny that we don't think that way. Only in mixed martial arts do we call people master. I don't know why. That's a weird, it's one of those weird things that happens in life, I guess.
Hey, I say if you want to do it, do it.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Yeah, instead I went with the purist to make myself even more egotistical and arrogant looking, I guess. Okay, so first of all, this is the first time I've ever had a couple on the show. Not only that, but the fact that you guys are doing the business together Like a lot of times, like even last week when I talked to Rick Thomas, his wife runs the business, but she's not the creative side of it. She's not on the job sites. She's doing everything behind the scenes. You are both on the job site on a regular basis, or like what's the different roles between the two of you in your company?
So I do run the business end of things. I like to be the one that talks to the customers, who I'll help quote the jobs. We do it together though. We quote the jobs together. I'm the one figuring out the details. I'm the one scheduling it. And he is the one who is 100% hands-on. So I might not necessarily get my hands dirty on every job, but I'm usually helping in some way. So sometimes that's I'm down there filming for him while he's pouring. Sometimes I'm only helping him flip slabs, or something real fun like that. But I definitely get in on the work, but not all the time.
Okay. But you also have a background in this kind of world too, right? Because I saw some of the artwork you're doing. So
Yeah.
tell me about the background you two have. Like, where does this all come from?
Yeah. So I'm an artist. I went to school for art. I have a bachelor's. I don't want to introduce myself with it though, So
you don't have a BFA on all your business cards after your name?
I don't, but I heard you say that the other day, like about adding that after your name on stuff, and I was like, it's not really like, I guess that bachelor's isn't quite as impressive, but it's really not a bad idea still, in the industry, because when you're selling this, decorative concrete or art or sculptures, or it's more beneficial in that aspect,
I think, but I mean, I also am spoiled by that. So, that was with a fun thing that Tony brought up. He was just like, I never thought about that before. And I was like, well, I've never thought about the other side of it, because it's just again, that was the first thing my business consultant told me to do. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be clear here. And I make this joke all the time. This show is not about the business plan, because I'm not a business person, and I'm not capable of telling you how to do your business better. I'm capable of telling you how to do your art better, but I'm not capable of telling you how to run your company better. That's, I just winged it. I learned it as I was going. I figured it out. I made all the mistakes possible to figure out how to do that. No one taught me how to run a business. That's always the funniest thing about it. Art school does not teach you business.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
the biggest mistake I made in college, was not taking a business class. I tell everybody that's going to college, I'm like, take one business class, no matter what you're going to school for, no matter what you're going to do afterward. It's important for two reasons. One, to learn how to run a business if you want to, or two, when you're interviewing for a job, you can explain how you understand how their business works and where you need to fit into it. And it might help you with that interview, because you're smarter about the expectations of your role. Oh, hi there.
The cat wanted to get in on it.
If that makes sense, that's kind of a thing that I always pointed out with that. So that's one of the biggest things. The other most important class I think everybody needs to take too, especially if you're in a creative world, is graphic design. I also did not take that either. So I am terrible with Photoshop or anything that has to do with that on a computer. I do not understand how to do stuff on a computer. I cannot make computer art or anything like that. Everything I do, I freehand. Every job I did, I freehanded every single drawing on paper. I never went into a computer and figured it out that way once. So
yeah. So I started in fine arts, but I knew I didn't want to run the risk of becoming a starving artist. So the school I was going to it was like the second best school in the 2-year school in the country when I started for graphic design. So I ended up going into graphic design, and that's how we met. I was a graphic designer at a fish food company, and he worked in the back. He was kind of building machinery for them and all sorts of stuff. And you could talk about yourself.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So
so
wait,
that's
hold on.
what's
Let
that?
me explain something to me. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
You
go ahead.
worked for a fish food company, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, and you came into the fish food store for what?
No, it was like we
I'm a,
manufacture of fish food,
yeah.
and he worked in the warehouse
Okay,
building
you
machinery
spoke to. I
they
caught
use.
this that part. Okay. Now go on. So what did you do there, Rich?
So I used to build a lot of to make like fish food flakes. There's a bunch of weird equipment, and I used to make the equipment and maintain the equipment. So I was a maintenance guy there, but it was a little more than a maintenance guy. Like we invented some equipment there. Not that I got credit for it, but we built some things and um, some equipment. And then she worked in the office. She was their graphic designer, and that's how we met. Up until that point, you know, I never even thought about art or being an artist or anything like that up until I met her. I always liked to build things. I always liked to make things. Um, I was building art and things that could be considered art, but I never thought of it that way. I was just a guy who, knew how to use tools and made things. And then, when I met her, she kind of said, "Hey, hey, you are an artist too,
And before that, he poured concrete.
Yeah. So I poured concrete, since I was young, welded in shops, worked in a bunch of different shops and different things, and then once we met, that was when she said, "Hey, we could build some things together, some really cool things," um, and she's kind of made me realize over the years that art is fun and awesome, and I like doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny you say it that way too, because I mean that was never my plan either. I I was going to go to school for computer science and math. I never planned to be an artist. I did love art. I did really well in it. And the last time I had taken an art class was my freshman year of high school, and I loved it. But then I never took art again. I just doodled all the time. But what I did take was drafting class. I took 2 years of drafting class, and I loved it. I was like, it was so cool to lay out machinery and lay out little details and like we did the most complex things. By the end of the class, I was like the top guy making really a complex designs. I wanted to go to school for like architectural drawing or something like that, but there was no school with that around me. And I went to school and hated computer science. It sucked. It was so boring. And I was getting an A in art, and I just kept taking art. That that's the story. This was not planned at all. And then when I
Yeah,
finished college, I was like, what do I do now? I probably should go to grad school because that's what you're supposed to do when you go to college. Still had no plan at all. Still had no idea what I was going to do even when I finished grad school. No plan at all. So it's amazing how art comes out of the craziest situations you never expect.
it really does. It really does. I mean, I still have trouble thinking of what we do and some of the stuff that I do as art. I struggle with like I still think of we joke sometimes and I say she does all the art and I swing hammers, um, which sometimes does seem like the way that it is, but she convinces me otherwise pretty often.
That's an interesting point. I struggle with calling a lot of my floors art because my art is my paintings. And that's a
Yeah,
completely different world. They're not
It's
comparable
different.
or anything like that. There's no way to merge the two worlds except for making a 7 foot tall pink bunny. There's never been a way for me to get people to understand because it's a different industry. It's a very, very creative industry, but it's not the same kind of art. And and I always felt like all of my colleagues that I went to school with, all the people I went to a master's program with, like all the people that I went to school with for that, would look at what I'm doing as more of like a remedial art. All of my bachelor friends that I went to school with would go, "Yeah, good job figuring out what to do with your art degree." But getting that master's was such another level of learning that I feel like I'm not doing the level I'm supposed to do with my education, to be honest with you. I love every minute of it. I've enjoyed this industry. I love where it went and how lucky I got with all of it. But that was not the plan at all. And I don't know if I really took everything I did to that level of seriousness. I took it serious as in I cared about every detail. I wanted it to last forever. I wanted to do the right thing. I don't want mistakes to happen. But after it was done, I moved on. I never really looked back on it other than my pictures and thought, man, was I really making art when I did that? To me, it was just another job. It's different to me than being in my studio nonstop working on what I want to work on.
Yeah. It's hard to I understand that 100%. With sometimes like, so a lot of the times, like if we get to do, we have customers that'll say like, we want, we want something, and we get complete creative control over it, and we get to do whatever we want, and they're buying that. When we do that, I feel like an artist. I feel like I can call it art. I feel like an artist. But when someone has something already laid out for us, like, hey, can you build this? Can you do this? And we go do that. Those are the times that I struggle a little bit to say like, I'm an artist, or am I just creating, if I'm creating the image that's in my mind, or something that even, when we come up to something together, when I'm doing that, I feel like an artist.
Yeah.
When I'm building something that the customer already visualizes, which is still fun to build, I'm not against that, but it is a little harder than to call myself an artist when you're doing that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it too. That's kind of where I drew the line too, because I tell clients all the time, they're always like, well, you're the artist. What would you do? Okay, you can't afford that. We're not even going to go there. Like, no, I'm not, I would be here for the Mona Lisa on the floor. Like, no, that's not happening. But instead, I go, well, but when I show you my artwork and you go, hey, can I buy a painting, or can you do a commission for me? Then it's a different conversation. Now we're talking, and that commission, if you want to do a commission, I will talk to you about the ideas that you wanted to have in there. But then from that point on, it is my painting my way. You can't tell me what to do on my canvas. You can tell me what to do on your concrete patio because you have to live with it, or your interior floor, or your pool deck, or you have to live with that. That's permanent. You can't do anything about that. But this painting, if you don't like it, you can sell it. Hell, if you don't like it, you can burn it.
Right.
It's a different world. It travels with you. When you move to the next house, it goes with you. Those kind of things. It's a different world of art when it comes to that. And that's where I kind of drew the line all the time and said, I can't be my art because I can't dictate your house. You have to live with it. I can dictate my canvas that you can sell. I can't dictate your house. And that's how my attitude was all the
time. I think that it's a little, I think that you can, I kind of I'm learning over, every job I learn a little bit more, but I'm learning that a lot of the times, like the customers, they do have to live with that, but they want to live with that. They want to live with, some people don't have the creative, and it's okay. A lot of people don't have the creative, they can't see what they want, and they see that you can see what, they see from other work that you've done, and, us, like stuff that we've done, they see like, oh, they have good vision, the stuff that they create, I like it, you know what I mean? But they couldn't put that in their house or the space that they have to live. So, they reach out to you and they say, I want you to do what I like, your style. I like what you do. I want to create. And I think it's, they want to live with that. And that, I think that's one of the coolest things ever, is when the customer wants, they want a piece of you, a piece of what your style, what you do, and they want that in their house,
No, that's an interesting way to look at it. And I tried that, but there was a level to where I was like, but to the same point, again, I still felt like I was making very creative things. I was very happy doing it. I was enjoying the crap out of it. Like I probably did an ashlar pattern almost every single week, or my guys run multiple jobs doing them in the same week and stuff like that. I probably did more ashlar patterns than you would ever want to believe doing. Never once did I go, oh, I gotta do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
I do it every single time because it was different every single job, because no job was exactly the same size. And so the layouts always changed the room. And I loved the reaction. I loved the finished look and go, bam, look at that. And I loved the client's reaction every single time. And I was fine with that. And yes, when I got into doing really cool, high level creative stuff, yes, of course, I dug in even deeper. But I didn't want to do a basic tile pattern. I didn't want to do a compass rose. I didn't want to do certain things. I was like, I'll do it, but those are boring to me. But from an ashlar pattern on to every other mathematical thing I did, I obsessed over it and loved it. And I don't know why. I don't know why I never got bored of doing an ashlar pattern, but I got bored of doing compass rose. I was like, I can do that blindfolded. Well, I could do this floor blindfolded too, but I still obsessed over the mathematics of it. And I just loved doing it all the time.
Yeah, we do we still do a lot of like stuff that's obviously we do a lot of stuff that's not fun, that we don't show on social media.
Oh yeah,
like obviously we're doing
yes, of course,
right.
Yeah,
we're doing other things, but so one way that I always look at those is like I've always believed the the whole like beat on your craft kind of thing. If you want to be really good at something, you just continuously learn at it and learn at it and learn at it. So I always like think of those, the ones that get, because I get bored fast, real fast. So when I'm in those jobs, I just convince myself that I'm always learning, and you're doing something that's boring, but you're picking up techniques and you're doing things, and all you're doing there is you're training yourself for the next one, which might be one of the fun ones. So I just like tell myself that all the time, and it keeps me through those boring ones and gets me to the next one that, the one that you're laying in bed dreaming about of, how it's going to go, and those ones, because those are the best. Those are what we're like looking for, I feel like.
Yeah. So we get them more and more,
Yeah. So here's my question to you. How many days does it take for you to get bored?
One.
Not too long.
Just one day?
No.
Like if it's
a little more than that.
A few.
So that's one of the good things about like us being like doing, we do like, we'll have like welding and fabrication style jobs, concrete jobs, woodworking jobs. And it's a couple days. Like, so I'll get into a job and there's stages. Like we start a job and I'm so excited about it. I can't even sleep because I'm thinking about it and I'm working out all the details and how this is going to work and how this is going to work. And then I get into it and I'm still excited and I'm going. And then once I get like over a hump where it's like, I see the finish line and it's almost like the details are worked out.
Yeah.
That's when I get bored. Like when
there's nothing left to figure out.
Yeah. And that's when I get like, I get a little like, at that point, I'm just going, I know how to do it. And I'm just going through the motions to finish the job. And that's when I start getting bored.
So I figured out through all of my years of contracting, 6 days. If I had to go 6 days, I was done. I better finish this in 6 days, no matter what the project was. If I will not last after that, now I'm getting bored and I want to go do another job and come back to this one. I need a break from it. And it doesn't matter what the job was, because a lot of those times it was scale is why it was taking so long, and if it was over 6 days, I was like, oh God. But it's also the funny thing about doing art, because when I paint, I don't have that problem. I don't have that problem because I'm in tune to what I'm trying to show the universe. Uh-huh. I don't think about that on a concrete floor. It's just a job sometimes, and so it was weird about that. Like everyone had to be every week. I had to have that job done by Friday of that week. I had to. If I didn't, it drove me insane and I'd get irritated about it and I would be annoying to my employees, which I was hardcore on them all the time anyway. So I just was worse. But I agree with you 100%. There is. And here's an example for you, and tell me if I'm right on this then. Okay. So I watched one of your videos recently where you made a shelving for what's his name? Machine Gun Kelly for his coffee shop. Okay.
Yeah.
Very basic, very simple. Was that exciting for you, or was it just another job?
Probably just another job. It started out exciting because of the client. And we were like,
it's exciting. But by the time you were done with it, is that a perfect example of what you're trying to say?
Yeah, so that one kind of had like that one was I was really excited in the beginning of it, and it was the same thing. Once we figured out, okay, this is how it all goes together. Like once the thing was welded together, and okay, it's got to be painted. I got to cut some plywood, put in it, and deliver it. That was about when like the novelty wore off, and I was kind of over it.
I feel like once you started welding on that, it was so much of the same thing.
Yeah,
level the piece out, tack it in place. Like it was so repetitive.
It got really
because there was so many pieces in there, and you're doing the same thing for every single one.
Yeah, and also with that one too, like deadlines.
Oh, it was a super quick turnaround.
Yeah, they needed it for like an event they were having, and and I was like usual, I'm pushing right up against the deadline. So sometimes that works out. Like I tell her sometimes I do my best work sometimes when I'm under a deadline like that, but then sometimes it just takes the joy right out of the job. It's hit or miss with those things. So
it can be both. You can still do your best work and not enjoy it at the same time. It can't happen.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But that's the same as all of them. And honestly, it's funny how you said like 6 days, because thinking back like on jobs, I bet it's close to, there's got to be something to that, because I bet it's close to like 5-6 days.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I'm kind of over it.
Our jobs are usually stepped on top of each other, so it would be very rare for us to be on the same project for 6 days in a row.
Yeah.
Usually there's maybe 2 days in a row, and then the third day he's got to go help someone do something. So he's on a break for a day, but then the next day he's on it. And then the next day he has to go weld something quick for someone, who needs, an emergency welding job, basically,
Yeah.
See, that would drive me crazier. That's an interesting point. I mean, I was doing multiple jobs a week, but I was on one, or at least I guess I did that a little bit too, but I trusted my guys on a lot of what they were doing. So I didn't have to go to every job all the time throughout the week usually. But you're right. I didn't think really about it that way, but that's a very good point. I think that even drives me crazier, because that's what drags these jobs on forever. And that's my point.
Yeah.
If I don't finish it in 1 week, even if I do multiple different ones and I bounce around, if I have to go in Saturday to finish it, I'm cranky. If I have to wait till Monday and Tuesday to finish the job and I can't start a new one, I get cranky. Like I want that control of every Monday. I want to start over. I want it's a brand new week. And that's how I loved it. I was happy doing that, meeting in the Monday morning and going, okay, this week you're going to go do this. You're going to go do this. I'm going to go do this. I loved having that Monday morning meeting where we know what we're doing. Let's go, and not go, I got to go back to that job to finish it before I can start the next one. It really throws me off. And then that week is thrown off. If I start a job new on Wednesday, I'm screwed, because then it falls into the next week and I go downhill from that point on.
So when is it like because you are so up into that job, so I kind of have a similar thing that happens with me. Like I do bounce around a ton, and I'm doing other little things in between things, and it drives me crazy. I have a focusing thing. I get so mentally focused into what I'm doing and there's only room for that one thing. So if I start another job in that thing, which I do all the time, and I struggle with it, but I feel like it takes away a little bit from that one. And I struggle with that, and it's hard to get back. Like then when I get back to that job, it's hard for me to mentally get back into the place that I was before I filled my brain with a bunch of stuff from a different job. If that makes, I know that sounds weird.
It makes perfect sense to me. I know exactly, and you're right. That irritates the crap out of me. There's no focus then, and then you feel like you're never getting anything done. You're always in motion on multiple jobs, and when is something going to get done? And that's one thing I learned too when I started going, I'm working on this one job at a time, and I'm going to get this sucker done before I move on to the next one, because I'm going to go crazy trying to keep up with and then the clients too. It depends on your clientele. And of course, you guys aren't just pouring concrete. You're talking about this on a different level. You're talking about this from a furniture point of view, from a sculpture point of view, there's many levels that we have to talk about the different things that you're doing when you say all these different jobs, compared to just going in and engraving a job every single week or staining and sealing a job every single week, there was a repetition to that I could say, no, I got to do this one first, then this one, then this one, and focus that way as much as possible, or at least my role on that job. You know, my guys can come back and seal. My guys can go in and start and pressure wash and things like that. They can do all the front end and the back end, but the time that I'm needed, I have to focus on that, or else good luck. I mean, I'll go crazy if I had to do multiple jobs that way. That would really drive me insane.
Yeah,
it's tough.
It does.
And it's just us. We don't have anybody else. So we can't send a guy off to a job or, you know.
Yeah.
We get help. We can get help if we need it.
And we do.
But it's just day labor stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. So with that said, how long have you guys been in business?
I think it's been about, I'm not 100% sure. I think we're about 7-8 years.
Okay.
We've been doing this.
Yeah.
The first couple of those years, I was still working a full-time job. So
Sure.
I think I've probably been 5-6 years where I've been
6 years. He's been full-time because it was when COVID hit. I was pregnant with our first child, and the full-time job that he had put him out in public, and no, it was so early in COVID that nobody knew what was happening. So, or what was, you know, and I was freshly pregnant, and we, you know, so he, that's when we decided he quit his full-time job and he started full-time.
Yeah, and I was like, now is the best time. We're going to make it happen. So I left my job and I was like, we're going to go for it.
I thought when you got pregnant, the worst thing to do is to go start a business right then.
Right. So the two funniest things is she got pregnant and we started a business and we bought motorcycles.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. How it worked out.
Motorcycles. I thought you meant you bought a business to sell motorcycles for a second. And I was
like, no, we both started riding motorcycles.
Yes.
It made no sense, but it worked for us.
That doesn't make any sense at all. That's not when you buy motorcycles. You buy that before you have kids or when you're having a midlife crisis. Not right when you get pregnant. That's the wrong time to do that. Great job.
I was riding mountain bikes too, so
right.
through both pregnancies.
So explain to me, like, what all you guys do as a business, but as an artist, like as an art form. How many different types of art do you guys do on a regular basis? It's okay. It can be a big list. It can be one thing, you know.
I don't know, like exactly like what you know. I don't know exactly what
you do as an art form. Like, what do you, when you're talking to someone, if you're sitting at a bar in a hotel in another city in the country, and you're having a random conversation with the people next to you, what do you tell them you do?
Usually we say furniture and decor, and then we say we work with mixed mediums. You know, we'll work with wood, concrete, and metal, or even repurposing, you know, stuff we find at thrift stores. But, you know, we've done a few full remodels of restaurants, the whole interior. I think that's what we typically will say is custom interiors, or, you know.
Yeah. It's really tricky to say it. That's a really hard, we find ourselves in that position all the time. And it's really hard to explain like what we do. I mean, because we do like a lot of stuff that's not art too. Like we kind of just build stuff. And, you know, there's a big chunk of it that ends up in the art category. And then there's a big chunk of it that ends up in like the, you know, with art aside, I still do like building. There's something really cool about building something that builds things, or making something that does work after you leave it. It's a weird thing, but, you know, a piece of equipment, or, you know, making something that also makes something. It's kind of weird. So we do like some weird stuff like that.
Fabrication, you know, like maybe it was last year, he made like a completely custom dumbwaiter, like a fully functional dumbwaiter, the whole inside mechanism, the pulley system, even wired the whole thing and figured out all the electronics to it. And but then sometimes we're painting 50-foot murals.
Yeah.
And so like I just had a phone call. In the next few weeks we're going to be talking to someone about doing a bunch of sculptures for an art walk. And there's so many right now. He's building a bunch of forms. We're going to be pouring like 25 concrete pillar lights and then also like, digging and pouring the footers to install them onto and making a full fence out of it for a patio.
Yeah, so and that could be considered, that could be considered art.
Yeah.
The fence post and the style that they are, but it's also a fence.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard. It's a difficult thing. I just think that we like making things. Half of that might end up in the art side of it. Half of it might end up in the.
Well, there's nothing wrong to say that these fence posts are artistically done.
Yeah.
That there is a creativity in everything we do. That's one of the, I hate to say it this way, and I know this is going to tick off a ton of people listening, but I think there are too many people in this industry boasting that they are artists when they're just very creative people.
Oh yeah, right. We totally understand that.
I'm not saying that I have a right to be like, oh, I'm the best. That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is that there is a level of creativity in what we do, and there is a level of what it means to truly be an artist. Those are not the same thing.
Yeah, you can be creative and not be an artist.
You can be an artisan. You're an artist, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is not like, please, everybody listening, I'm not talking shit. I'm not trying to talk down. That's not the point. It is just a way that I look at what I do and how I do it, and the way that people do and things like that. And so with that said too, like as a side part to like what I wanted to ask you when you guys were just talking is so I saw some of the work that you were doing, and I could tell that they looked like they were public works projects. Is that correct? So you guys, like, you're doing stuff for the city, you're just saying, or you're doing a walk. Yeah. So that's stuff that you find through government sites or through the city, or like, how do you find out about that stuff?
Yeah, so I started doing a few painting projects that were posted as, you could apply. So I had to fill out an application and come up with a concept, and then they'll accept as many people as they can for the project, however many they've allotted. So I've done a few of them so far, and actually, the woman that I've been working with in submitting my artwork through her, she's one accepting all the applications. I got to talking to her, and I explained about our business. And so she runs one of the local parks, which is, owned by the city. And all of these art projects are ran through the city. So she gets, funding for her park. And I told her about how we, make concrete art, and we can make metal art, and that we would love to do some sculptures around town. And she was like, oh, I have a great idea. Let me get back to you. And so I just submitted another application to do this like rain barrel painting. So I'm going to be doing that soon. And she was like, when you come and get your rain barrel, remind me, I have to walk you down this trail. It's a new trail, and I want you guys to help me do an art walk. So that's like how that came about.
Okay. So like I saw you were making benches that look like books that were open.
Yeah, that was the first. It was a storybook bench project, and that was the first one I did through the city of Mena.
Okay. So that's what I thought when I saw that. Yeah. I thought that was what, okay, because that's an interesting point. Like I was talking about that with Nick and Cody when I interviewed them, and they did the Dragon Head, and they had never thought about looking into public projects that are always out there for commissions, for grants, for everything like that. And it never occurred to them to look that kind of stuff up, especially in the Cleveland area. I mean, you guys live in a big enough city area, a big enough suburb area for all that kind of stuff. Same here. and
Yeah.
I barely look into it either. I'm busy enough as it is too. That's one of the things that always irritated me. I always wish I did more. And one of my best friends here is a major mural painter, and that's how he makes most of his living, is finding those kind of projects and doing that. A couple of my friends that are big mural
Yeah.
painters, it's all public projects half the time, and then they get commissions to do too. But a lot of their artwork comes through government funded projects.
Yeah, so we're just starting to get into that now. We're really excited about it. And on that topic, we would love to learn more about that and how to find more of that, we'll do of course other, art for individual customers who just
Right.
contact us and stuff like that too. But this whole working with the city is newer to us. We've only done it for the past few years now. And this conversation about the art walk just happened. But it's really exciting, and it's kind of where we want to lean towards more,
Yeah, I think that's the end game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from my point of view, or what I know about and where I'm at, is you want to contact. There's an art commission in the Cleveland area. There should be an art commission, and
Uh-huh.
you want to get to know those people, and they have events, and go to those events and start networking into that. And when you start subscribing to what they're doing, you're going to be on the list, or there's Facebook forums for these groups and stuff like that too. That's when they will announce, hey, here's an upcoming project for you to bid on. Here's an upcoming, and they announce them all the time through their social media networks and things like that. So it's
Yeah.
understanding where those people are, and how to contact them in the first place, or how to find it all online. But it's really not that hard to find. It's easier now than it used to be, thanks to
Yeah.
social media, and it depends on these people that are in those roles. They post a lot more of these, and actually, to that same point, I was going to bring this up to you too. It's a weird thing. I think it's a joke. I don't know, but I saw, like, on social media, there was this thing called a People's Artist, and it was and it's a competition. And I don't, did you see this? Do you know what I'm talking
With
about?
I did.
Johnny Depp.
I did see
Is
this.
it Johnny Depp?
Yes, the Johnny Depp thing, right?
Yeah, I've
Yes, I
seen
did
it,
see
and
this
I don't
too.
know if it's real either.
Well, I entered it for the hell of it, and I got in, and I was like, okay, cool, this is interesting. And of course, I would love to be an art forum. Like, let's go into a different world here in my side of, like, there's magazines out there that if you get in them, you are, it's the center of the universe. From when I was in grad school, it was like a dream to be in art forum. That would
Mhm.
be insane for me to have an opportunity to do. We were supposed to go to galleries and work our butts off to get into galleries and build that reputation, and sell our work through galleries and everything like that. And build, and those galleries were in art forum. Like, the first thing I did right after I graduated grad school was I went to New York for a weekend, and I just went shopping through all the galleries and showed them my card, and showed them my artwork and tried to get in there. It was a joke. Like, there was no way I was ever going to get into that. I was not ready for that. I was not good enough. They're not going to critique you. They're not going to tell you how to do better. They don't care. They see 1,000 of you a week. It does not matter to them,
Yeah.
you know? Uh, so I entered this thing just to see what it was. And right away I got in, and they start sending you the stuff about what to do next. And the videos are very strange. And it turns into like it's almost like a game. Like, I have to send out to all of my peeps what I'm doing, vote on me, so I get to make it to the next level. It's not
Oh.
that they are advertising so much that everybody's going to see there's probably 1,000 artists in there for all I know. And we're slowly going to get voted off of the show, if you will, as we don't get enough votes. I don't have
Mhm.
time for all of that, man. I just thought this was a
Yeah.
cool idea, and I entered it, and I made a little page. I don't even know if I finished the page yet. I got to go back and even see if I'm even entered. And I think it starts Monday. So I have this weekend to make sure I'm ready for the event Monday. No idea
Uh-huh.
what's going to happen. I am not advertising this to the world. I could care less. Like, whatever. I don't have time for all of that. I thought it was a cool idea at first, but it sounds like it's just a popularity contest, and I do not.
Yeah. Those are
Yeah.
always so I can't stand I entered my kid into coloring contests through a big company, and it was the same way. It was like, "Oh, you can vote twice a day," and, like, I'm not gonna do that.
No,
Like,
I did
she's
do this once. I did do this once for World of Concrete. They had a competition called Crews That Rock, and you entered and told a story about your team and pictures and everything like that. So we made, since it was Cruise That Rock and we live in Nashville, we literally staged all of ourselves as a band. And of course, I was the lead singer, standing there just walking out. And of course, we didn't play any instruments. It was just photographs and everything like that. So we made all this fun, and I campaigned like you wouldn't believe, and we made it into like the top 3 or honorable mention. Like we made it onto the poster at the event, and I'm a team of 5 people. My picture looked like there was 10 people because it was like friends of ours that actually worked with us on job sites too. Like we subbed some work out to. So it was like our core group of people that worked together, and a couple of them were different companies. And we did this huge project together in Nashville at the time. So we took a picture all together. We got in there. It was awesome. I was like, yeah. But yeah, no, looking back on it, it was just a popularity contest. And I spent a lot of time advertising it to get those votes. A lot of time to get those votes. So yeah. And so I'm not looking forward to this. I don't think I have a chance now, because I don't think that, my artwork will stand out if they see it, but I don't know how they're going to see it. I don't know how many people are in there. So I guess I should post a link to it. See, I don't even know how to do that yet, but I guess I should post a link to it on this video and say, vote for me, check it out, and see what it's like. I have no idea. So I just wanted to see if you saw that too and what you thought about it, because that's confusing.
I saw it too. And I wasn't sure if it was legit. I didn't even click it. I don't have time. I'm already submitting to other stuff.
Right. Yeah, when I saw Art Forum, that was the only reason I had to try it. I would love to be in a gallery show, in a major gallery too. Like, don't get me wrong. I would love to win that. It's exactly what I want to do. But yeah, time. I can't even finish the artwork I'm working on right now. That's a whole nother
exactly right.
conversation. So, okay, so you have a shop, correct?
Yeah.
Like, how big's your shop?
It's right our house, actually.
It's 48 by 24. It's not giant.
Yeah, sure, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
bigger than mine.
It's just a pole barn, behind the house.
I saw that it was pretty crammed with a lot of stuff. It's got to be hard to maneuver.
Yeah. It's tight, and it's especially tight because of the different, I don't have a designated like fabrication area, and I don't have a designated like woodworking area, or concrete area. So, and it's really hard because I gotta, you throw a bunch of sawdust all over the shop, and then you get a welding job that comes in. You have to clean that shop very well, because you're going to throw a bunch of wood chips and then throw a bunch of sparks the next day. That gets very, it's very, very difficult, very stressful. A lot of nights going down to, sniffing around the shop, making sure I don't smell smoke. It's scary. We're in the process of, we have an addition planned for the shop to, I want to build like a lean-to on the side of it where I can put my metal shop, and have a metal shop, a woodworking area, a concrete area. Eventually that's the goal, but you either have the time to do it or you have the money to do it. I never have the two at the same time. So it's a struggle.
Well, so the one thing I noticed, and this cracks me up all the time because my wife says you could never have enough of these. And she kept buying me multiple for years because you can never have enough clamps. And it's a true thing. You can never have enough.
You cannot have enough clamps.
I don't understand why. Like, why do we need so many?
I don't know.
Geez, I can think of why. We've had 50 clamps going at one time before, We do a lot of like glue up stuff with wood, especially.
Yeah, because I use all mine for wood. I don't do anything with metal. I do a lot of I have a full wood shop too, and I do a lot of wood stuff too. So, it's amazing why you need so many of them. But I just think it's a funny thing, and I just thought when I was watching your video of making the shelving for MGK, whatever, Machine Gun Kelly, that someone I do not listen to. I do not even pay attention to that. So
he's from Cleveland.
I saw that cracked me up even more. I'm like, figures, because I am too. I don't know if you guys remember, I'm from Ohio too, or if you knew that actually.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes, we did.
far from you guys. So gotta love it. All right. So we were texting each other the other day, and we were talking about, just what was going on that day and stuff like that. As the four of us were texting and having a blast talking about jury duty, which I'm not looking forward to doing. And you were saying about how stressful work can be, right? Let alone you have, how old are your kids?
5 and almost 2.
I'm gonna fix my
Okay.
light real quick.
Yeah, you did get dark. There we go.
Worse. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So there's a lot of stress with obviously having 2 kids. Well, let me backtrack for a second. Do you have family where you live too?
His family.
We do, yeah.
I grew up in New York, so I don't have any family at all around here.
What part of New York?
I grew up around Utica, New York, so not far from Syracuse.
Uh-huh. Yeah, my whole entire family is from that area, like Albany and Binghamton, like between those two a lot. And a lot of went up to school in the Syracuse area. So yeah, actually I grew up going up there all the time.
We still go up a lot, and I still have a bunch of family up there. I have, we have family up in the Adirondacks. I still have a bunch of family in Syracuse, some in Rochester. So we're always around, and I have family in the city too.
So, so you guys do have family near you. So this is why I was going to ask that. So we did not. When we had our 2 kids, we had 0. Like, we're both from Ohio. We moved to Nashville, Tennessee. No help whatsoever, one bit.
Oh. Yeah.
Which is enough stress in your own right there alone, especially with a 2 and a 5-year-old. On top of that too, being on job sites all the time, having to work 6-7 days a week half the time is grueling on top of that too. Yes. So you had mentioned that you were like stressed out the other day, and I was just wanting to talk more about, like, when you're making so many different types of art, is that's what's stressing you out, or is it everything included? Because back to that point of, you don't just do one thing at a time, you bounce all over the place. Is that what makes it so stressful for you?
Sometimes.
At times, yeah. So, when I say like that it's stressful, or it's not that I don't love it. I love it.
I didn't say that. I know that was my next point.
Yeah,
yes.
I do love the stressful part of it, and I love overcoming, and I love the battle of it, because, like I said, I get bored fast, so I need that to keep me going, keep me into it. But it does get stressful. So one of the hardest things is the different sets of tools that you need for everything that you're doing. And I got a box. I thought that I was going to, I go to different job sites and I'm doing different things. If I'm in the shop, it's okay because we have everything there. But a lot of times I find myself doing different things out on jobs. And one day I got to load my truck up with stuff to go do welding jobs. And the next day I got to load my truck up to go do concrete stuff. And the next day I got to load my truck up to go do something else. And that gets very, very stressful. And then with, she still works full time for a company. So, she has the kids here all day, also is working full time, also is handling the administrative part of our business. It's just a lot. It for both of us, it's a lot all day, every day, never stops.
Yes, and to bring the kids down to, like, if I'm trying to help him and I got to bring the kids down there, they're just so young right now. Especially we have family here, but it's not where we just have sitters all the time. We're begging.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I think that was the best way. Really, I mean, you explained it, because, like you said, you wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, to that same point, would you rather have everything you just explained, or would you rather just work for another company and not have any of that, and maybe not necessarily be financially the same either? But to that same point, you might be making $20 an hour instead of deciding to figuring out your own income based on how hard you want to work. where there's no limit as hard as you're willing to work kind of thing to an extent. Which would you rather have, the stress or the easy route?
Yeah, not even with the if you took the money out of the equation and you said you can make this amount of money doing both the same, I would choose the stress. The stress comes with like it's stressful, but it's also like the satisfaction of just figuring it out. Like, give me problems and let me figure them out. It's where I do my best. I'm my best person when I have issues that I got to figure out. If I'm just floating along, I am miserable. And and it's easy to get comfortable when you're working a job like that where you're just getting paid. It's so easy to get comfortable, and the second I get into that situation, I'm not happy.
Yeah, it's really it's that sense of accomplishment that I don't know if you would get it any other way. And it wouldn't be a sense of accomplishment if you didn't have the stress of doing it.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that's an easy way to say it, I guess.
Yeah, and there's some days where you're like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna go take a job. I'm done with this." You're not gonna. You just had a rough day, and you know that. You know what I mean? It's just today sucked. Tomorrow will be fun. You know what I mean? And then when you think back about it, you're like, oh, the satisfaction of, oh, we figured that out, and we got that done, and we figured this out, and we figured out how to accomplish this, and I live for that. I
And
love it.
you can offset because you can control your schedule. If you have a really bad day, he could do whatever he wants the next day.
True.
He could just clean and just unwind, or he can
Yeah, you get
sit
to.
back, or what, he could mow lawn if he wants,
True.
because he works for me.
Yeah, right.
Well, and like my wife and I were just talking about this just a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Our son is 17. He just got his license and started driving in January, and now she doesn't have to pick up the kids from school every single day. I don't have to take the kids to school every day. For 14 years, well, no, for over 10 years of having these kids, actually more than that, yeah, she was doing everything. She was dropping them off and picking them up, and we made sure that the school was near where she was at work to make that easier, because we both work too. And we're not compromising that either. We both want to work. We don't, she doesn't want to be a housewife. She wants to work. And what she's doing is way more important than what we're doing. She's trying to save the world. We're just trying to make the world look better. And so, she just realized the other day, I can not come home tonight right away. I can go hang out with the people in my lab if I want to. And they were having an event, and she just texted me and said, I'll be home later, kind of thing. And I was like, okay. I mean, she told me what she was doing, and I was like, okay. It's not like I was like, what do you mean? Like, what are we going to do without you? Like, oh my God, you're not going to be home? Like, what do I do now? I just kind of laughed and was like, all right. And she just did that a couple of days ago, where she was like, hey, we're having this party for so-and-so because they're about to leave the lab. So I'm going to go to that. Okay. She's never had that before.
No, we are not there. No. We are not there yet. No, I know what you mean. Like,
say that. This is the other conversation, and it's a long journey to get there, on top of what you're trying to do to make a life for them and all of that. Yeah. Let's add another level of stress to it. But she just had that moment in the last 2 weeks to realize, I don't have to worry about it anymore. And if I want to ask my son to go get her, and she did that day, she said, hey, I know you get off at 3 and she doesn't get done with practice until 6. Can you just wait and go pick her up? And of course he said yes, even though he hates doing that. And it was the first time she was able to ever do that since we've had kids. So it's 17 years. And this is the first moment she's had. And she wants me to feel guilty, but she's not trying to she's not mad at me about it. But I had to go out there and make a living. I had to go out there and find the work, and I had to go out there and sell the work, and I had to do the work, and I had to work 7 days a week. There was nothing I could do about it for a very long time. And it's not that it was my fault. It was the choices we made. It was the direction we took. It is what it is. And I just had to acknowledge it. And what was I supposed to do? Go pat her on the back? Like, I was like, sorry. Like, I didn't really know what she wanted from me. And she was like, I just wanted to say that. And I'm like, okay. Like, You are correct. What am I? You're correct. This,
Yeah.
I don't know if I have no reply to this. And she just looked at me and I'm like, and she agreed. She's like, I just wanted to say that. And it was such a weird conversation.
Sometimes you just need to hear it out loud,
Basically the point. So I just thought that was funny too. And I thought you guys would appreciate that. There is an end game. You just have to, work through the stress, if you will.
Right. So I worry about the end game sometime, to that point where you come. I know that are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. I worry about, because that sometime you're gonna get to that point where you see it and you hear about it, where the house is quiet and things calm down. And I worry about that time, like, because either that's gonna come and you're gonna be like a huge sigh of relief, or that's gonna come and you're gonna be like, I don't know what to do with myself,
I have that all planned out for me. That's not an issue for me. I don't know how my wife is going to handle that, but I am counting the days. I still have a long way to go because my daughter's 14. I still have a ways to go, but I can't wait to get my privacy back. That's my biggest thing. Is I'm a very private person. I miss my privacy. I'm getting it more and more because they just come home and go right to their rooms half the time, but still, I just can't wait for them to go away and come back every once in a while. And when they come back, I'm going to have a great time with them. We're going to have a blast. But okay. Something for you to possibly try if you're lucky enough to do this. So to your same point, you have family in New York and you're in Cleveland. My family was all in Ohio on both sides of the state, and we were in Nashville. So here's the question for you. Would you rather have every Friday to go out to dinner by yourselves and just have 3 hours to yourselves together? Or would you rather send them off for 4 weeks in the summer and have 4 straight weeks of nothing?
Every Friday.
Oh.
Easy. I couldn't handle 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think 4 weeks they're too little right now.
No way.
I
loved every summer. It got up to 5-6 weeks. I was like, let them go. I want them to go experience the grandparents. I want them to go experience the rest of the family.
I love the idea of that.
My mom's already said that. She's already like, well, when they're a little bit older, and maybe when they're a little bit older, I'll be ready. But right now, it'd be too much.
So when we, we do a couple things like, like the expo, and then we do a thing in October called Maker Camp where, we go and hang out with other makers for a weekend. And we're always so excited to get away, like a break. 2 days in, and we're just, we got to call the kids. It does not take long before we got to call the kids.
But we're also both like here all day. So even if we're down in the shop, we're on our property all day, pretty much every day. Sometimes he goes off on jobs, but majority of time we're here. We have a kindergartner, so she goes to school for, it's a short day still. School is pretty not as long as you think it is. But
Right.
And then we have a toddler who's here all day. So it's more of like separation anxiety at this point because we're just always with them.
See, to me, I just needed a break from them, and we both did. And it started off the first year. It was 10 days on each side of the state, and we literally drove them up, dropped them off, came home, drove up, hung out for a day, drove them to the other one, left and came home, went back up, picked them halfway. I think we did halfway both on the way there and then did the halfway again, but we were like, we've got to do it all. And then the next year we were like, you figure it out, because they're like 4 hours apart, so you guys can meet up 2 hours apart and drop the kids off and go the other way. Why are we doing all the work? And we got 3 straight weeks off, and it was like, oh, wow.
So I do think that would be nice. And I also think that would be like really healthy for the kids.
Yeah, it would probably be healthy for everybody.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I just think that it would be tough. It'd be tough the first time, maybe the first 2 times.
Yeah.
And then I think it would be like, I can't wait till those 5 weeks,
We do more of the short trips.
I've been doing that for I would say close to 10 years.
Uh-huh.
And this is the first year my son is finally, he's old enough now where I've got to figure out what he's going to do job wise. But this is the first year he's not going anywhere. And I'm like, uh-oh. So this is the
Oh.
first summer I don't have to myself. And it'll be an interesting summer because of it. I don't know what I'm going to do now, but it is what it is.
Oh. Yeah, we do long weekends. We got one, we're going mountain biking in not this coming a few weeks. We're going to New Jersey and we go downhill mountain biking. So we get someone to watch the kids and we play recklessly in the forest on our mountain bikes.
Right.
Yeah. So if we tried to do a trip together, the two of us, and we did it a couple times, we would have to have one of the parents fly down here or drive down here, stay at the house with the kids. And no, that was extremely hard to make happen because I had
That's
to
what
do that
happens.
too. Yeah.
A lot of times it's my
really
mom coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not easy. For Decocrete, she did that. She came down for the show, for the expo. So my mom came. They actually live in Delaware now. They came all the way from Delaware, stayed here with the kids while we did the show because we were gone for 5 days or something like that. And they watched the kids.
Show also?
What was that?
Did your parents come to the show also? Your mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought the kids the last day on Friday.
Yeah.
So what did she say about the chaos of it all?
Oh, she loved it. They love seeing our work and the art of it all. And my parents were always Simpsons fans when I was young, so they were really into the theme too.
That's cool. Well, and we can dig into that if you want to a little bit too. Because, all right, so what made you enter the Smackdown?
So last year, the 2025, we talked to John Hall from Cleveland Decocrete, and he, that's where we go for most of our stuff, all of our stuff really. And he told us, he said, the Smackdown thing is really cool. You guys should join. We were starting to, do a lot of stuff with Decocrete, and they were like, you should really join this thing. And we were like, dude, we don't even know what this thing is.
Yeah,
like,
we never been to the show. We don't know anything. We're just gonna look.
Yeah. So 2025, we just went and checked it out, walked through. That was where we met you briefly, and we just kind of like got a feel for the show and like what it was. And then this last year, we kept saying that we were going to do it. Yeah. We talked to Decocrete. We were going to do it. And then we drug our feet.
We were so busy. We were not going to apply. There was no way we were going to come up with a unique design. And we weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
It was the last day.
Yeah. So the last day we were working, and she texted me and she was like,
I'm like, let's just do it.
She's like, let's just, we seen online that it was the last day to enter. And she was like, hey, what do you think about doing the Simpsons living room? It would be super cool. Neither of us are really Simpsons fans. Previous to the show, I'm kind of a Simpsons fan now, because we did a bunch of watching and the thing. But she was like, hey, what do you think about just, submitting this?
I said, I just want to do a big art piece. I just want to make something that nobody would ever think was concrete. I want people to be like, how the heck do you do that with concrete? That's concrete,
right?
And I was like, that way, it's already there. All we got to do is figure out how to do it. It's instead of us having to make a plan, like all we have to do now is figure out how to execute it.
Yeah. And I was like, let's just let's submit it, and we did.
Interesting. I didn't see it coming, of course. Of course, I also didn't see a truck coming. It was an interesting year for the different entries. It was a different year from the year before. Like they were night and day different years. They're not comparable in any way, shape, or form at all, which is interesting. I'm glad that I was the year before because I don't know how different would have been this year. I have no idea if we'll see. Because I would love to enter next year, and I already have a plan to compete against that chaos. If you're going to go that way, I'll go that way, But it's going to be a tough one for me. Back to all these things we've been talking about. It's like I've always been trying to do decorative concrete. This is not decorative concrete anymore. This is concrete
No.
art. And if
Yeah.
that's what you want to do, fine. That makes me even happier. I'm even more excited now because I've been playing the game the wrong way, and I'm going to change tactics, and I'm going to bring a whole nother flair to it that no one will see coming, kind of like you guys did too, because that's completely different. You made an entire environment on another level. And really what you made was, you said you've done murals, you've done these public works projects. The funny thing about all that kind of stuff is when we're doing those kind of projects throughout a city, they're more of like a selfie location kind of thing, and
Yeah.
some of them are specifically for that on purpose. And they have the little QR code to
Yeah.
tag them, or, there's different and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of like selfie points to when it comes to putting art throughout a city. That's kind of what you did, at least from my point of view. The whole
That
point
was
was to
our goal.
people take
Yeah.
pictures in there. And I did that before,
Yeah.
like I did a 3D wall, 3D floor, and everything like that. And it looked like you were falling off the face of the earth when you're taking a picture in the middle of it. I think that's
Yeah.
really cool. I wonder how many people. The hardest part about it is getting it done in time for people to actually experience it. It's like the same thing with Keith's pool table. Keith finished that a couple hours before the show was over, and I was afraid to go in there and play pool because it was fresh. It just got done. It's hard to get people to understand what you're doing and embrace the experience with you because it's so chaotic and overwhelming for them. Is that a good way to say it?
It is. And I kind of thought that, the logistics of that, of like, people, we thought people were going to come in and be able to sit on the couch, and the idea of that was awesome. But they only got to do that for a couple hours on Friday. So it's like, you do kind of lose that thing that in theory seems like this works and this might help. But it really doesn't, in the way you think it's going to work.
Yeah.
We got tons of people taking pictures on it. Yeah. And you could sit on it all day Friday because we stained it on Thursday.
Right.
So you could. We were working there a little bit. We wrapped it up really early on Friday. We came in great on time. Honestly, when we first were planning it, we kind of thought, should we just do this just us two? And then we're like, nah, if we're allowed 4 people, and I'm really glad we did because those boys are great. And we really did need the help.
Yeah.
But we planned it out to a T. We knew what we were doing and how long it would take us. And we kept coming in ahead of schedule on everything.
I wonder if what could have helped at all, and maybe nothing could help. I mean, maybe it was just a competition period, end of conversation, but there was so much traffic walking through there that I don't think people understood sit down and take a picture. I wonder if it would have been as simple as put an arrow on the floor and almost like guide them, sit here, take picture. You know what I mean? You almost needed to have a sign, sit here and we'll take your picture kind of thing. And
we definitely had tons. I got video of like the time lapse of everybody coming in and sitting down and sitting down.
There was a lot.
We had tons, and we had a whole team of people telling other people.
Yeah. I was the guy watching, going, I don't know where I fit into this, so I'm just going to sit back here and check it out. And I did not walk in. I was timid about it. I don't know why, but every time I walked by, there was chaos there, and I didn't have a room to sit in there if I wanted to.
Yeah, I kind of felt like, even if someone went and took their picture, I don't know that they would have been like, I got to vote for them now,
Exactly.
Well, that's kind of my point. Like, that's where I was going with it. Like, the more engaged they would have got, I hoped they would have voted more, but maybe not. Yeah. Like, again, it might not have mattered at all, but that was where my mind was like the whole time. And I had the same problem last year too, because I don't think I explained it well enough or invited people into it. I think that was my biggest problem, is you have to be engaged. And I think I struggled with that. I saw you guys were very engaged. Like, I saw you were there all the time. But anyway, it was an interesting experience. I mean, I thought it was awesome. Of course, what I liked about it was not just that it looked like a cartoon, like it did look like the cartoon, but not only that, but there was this weirdness to the concrete, like the TV, for example. and some of the like the phone is another perfect example too. It didn't look like concrete. It looked more like a piece of paper. You know, if you will, like you paper mache'd it together, or not paper mache, you origami'd a phone, and you origami'd you know, in a good way. I just thought it was so interesting how smooth you made everything, and I just you question what's really concrete, and it's hard to believe it was all concrete, you know, or
Yeah.
overlay, you know, still the same thing,
Yeah.
cement in one way or
Uh-huh.
another. I thought that was
Uh-huh.
really clever, but I couldn't believe how smooth everything was.
So we
Love to
actually
hear.
played a lot in the shop up before the show with we really leaned into like textures. So it was really important for us to get that. We wanted that it to be like that, where it was confusing. It didn't look like concrete. So, we finished, the stuff that we did with a brush. We wanted the couch to look, almost fuzzy. So we finished it with a brush instead of a trowel. We wanted anything to look smooth, to be finished with, to change, have the different textures play against each other, which I think helped that image.
Yeah, I used a little palette knife as a trowel on the phone to make sure that the overlay really smoothed out, and I had to go over it for a long time to make it not look sandy,
Yeah.
I think
Interesting.
my
I
favorite.
was gonna ask, yeah. So you had to because everything was small. That was the weird thing about it. There were so many
Yeah,
details
so many
that I
small.
was
We
wondering how
cast
you
it a
made it
lot
all
too.
smooth. Okay.
Yeah, we have a CNC router, and so we're able to make like custom concrete stamps, and that's something now that we're expanding on, and we're going to be selling, to contractors or businesses if they want their logo custom stamped in front of their business. We can actually carve their logo on our CNC router and then silicone it and make an actual stamp that they can have and keep forever, and we're getting into that. But a lot of the smallest details, we made real outlets, and the plugs actually plugged into the outlet on the wall, and we made little light switches and knobs on the TV, and all of that was cast, and we carved it into foam. But funny enough, like how you said it, it almost looks like paper folded. My favorite comment from the whole show, I think it was Jamie, the guy who does the video for the videography for Decocrete, came over and told us, I think it was him, um, said, "Oh, some of the people who were watching live
Oh
had
yeah.
had comments saying that our booth looked like it was AI from the video perspective." I was like, "That's like such a compliment."
Yeah. Right.
Like it
Right.
looks so cool on screen. It looks
It
fake to
looks
them.
unreal. Right.
Yeah,
It does. That's the best way. That's the best way to say it is it looked fake. That's what was
yeah,
so hard for me to wrap my head around was it looks so fake, but it isn't. You know, like
Yeah.
that's why I kept saying like the paper was my example of trying to say that. I felt
yeah,
like you Trump Loy painted a TV from the backside. Like it didn't feel like it was
Yeah.
really there, even though it was, because it was
Yeah.
so smooth and the way you guys put it all together, it did. It had that fakeness to it, but that's the point. It's a cartoon. It's supposed to be fake. Like that made it even more believable to me, and it caught me off
Yeah.
guard because of it. And I know that took a lot of planning. I mean, how you didn't come up with it till right when you entered. So you entered in November, right?
Yeah.
So you had 2.5 months to whip this thing together?
Yeah, and so we've never even before that that was our intro to vertical concrete. We've never touched vertical concrete before that.
yeah,
Well, so
Um,
you guys are like me. It's not vertical concrete. You're using overlay to make sculptural images. Like I'm the same way. Like I don't do vertical. My bunny is not it's vertical concrete, but I didn't carve it like you would
exactly.
vertical
Yep.
concrete. I just used it as my medium to create the shape over the styrofoam and stuff like that too. So to me,
Exactly.
it's funny to say it that way because I don't consider it vertical concrete. You could have used micro topping to create the same effect. It's what you were
Yeah.
doing
some of
with it.
it, like the couch we did actually carve. We
Yeah.
actually slopped the vertical mix up and we hand carved it because we had to make like the pleats and the buttons and shape the cushions. and there were like sections of it that it was just thin. You know, most everything was thin like that, and we used it just like that. But the couch specifically, like the couch cushions that you sat on, that was completely, the foam was, you know, we built that up like 4 inches or something like that, you know.
Which you
And
had
the
to do
car,
because that was one structure people were going to use, and you didn't need that breaking up,
yes,
being too
yeah,
thin. Yes. That wasn't
yeah.
for display only. That was physically to use.
Yeah,
Did you
and
Yes.
take
we were definitely nervous when people started like, you know, as you're going into it, like people are coming in and sitting, and you're like, oh man, is this going to be okay? And then after the first couple people, we were like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, we were nervous.
Yeah,
Did you keep
And
the
we have it
couches?
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have it all.
yeah,
Everything.
yeah. We brought everything home with us.
You watch or do you watch the TV through that all the time? Is that your
No,
TV?
no, we're gonna try to we go to the local indoor bike park, Ray's, all the time. We're gonna try to see if we could set it up there, because they've got all these little nooks within the bike park, and
Yeah.
people sit and watch TV or whatever. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna email them over the summer and see if, you know, we have some touch up work from shipping it back here, you know, transit, but we want it displayed somewhere, you know. And
Yeah.
if it can't be, then we'll set it up in our yard, and we'll have some yard art.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I did with my pink bunny. I mean, I sent that to Vegas, and
Yeah.
when I trusted my team when they put it in the trailer to ship it back, and they didn't tie it down, and it got back as a bobblehead missing a foot,
Oh,
and I was so mad, and so it sat in my carport for like a couple years before I finally pulled it out and repaired it and fixed it and put it back together. And now it's fine sitting out there, and it hasn't recracked really at all. It's doing pretty
uh-huh.
well. But yeah, I sat right there with you. I was like, touch ups are going to suck, but I did it. But you know, it would be cool to do that whole scene, you know, put a covering over top of it to protect it maybe. But it would be really
Yeah,
cool to have people just sitting there like they're watching TV at the Simpsons. That would be hilarious at a skate
right.
park or something like that. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
So that one of the reasons why we didn't. So we had like the dilemma of, do we seal it or not? And it was like, do we seal this thing here? And I know it'll make the colors pop a little bit more. And is that going to help us here? But if we don't seal it, then it's going to be much easier to do repairs on it later. So it was like, so we ended up not sealing it, which I'm glad now that we did not seal it.
And it would have been that much longer that people could sit on the couch.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome. Well, I mean, I thought it was a great show. I'm glad you guys did it. Or would you do it again?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a good chance we're probably going to be involved next year.
Well, you're going to enter next year. That doesn't mean you're going to be involved. You know, now I might enter. So
Sure.
I'm already not
True.
canceled.
No, so honestly, my whole thought process, and I've told Jeff this, and I've told I've told a couple guys from Decocrete that we probably will enter there next year. If we didn't get into the Smackdown, it's no sweat for me really. But as far as the expo goes, from here on out, if there's room, we'd like to be involved in some way. I really think that's an awesome thing. I love being even a little, like the first year we went, just as spectators. This year felt like we were a little bit more of a part of it. And the people that we've met through this whole thing and become friends with and have talked to have been unbelievable. And I can't see going forward not being a part of this thing, for every year moving forward, honestly.
Welcome to my life, because I've been there from day one. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was the first year that I had to figure out what I was going to do. Like Jeff and I both were like, what are we going to do with you? Like, I've never not done something. And I ended up doing a demo, so it all worked out. I still did something, but I've never not done something. So it was a tough one to wrap my head around. This year I'm off in the corner and no one's paying attention to me. That's never happened in all the years of this show. So that's why I have to enter next year. I can't keep that. I can't keep sitting in the corner and not.
I think it's hard to believe nobody paid attention to you. You sat there quietly. Is that right?
Yeah.
I kept to myself. I kept out of it a lot. I tried to, I stayed out of it. I didn't get into the middle of anything. I waited till afterward to critique
Yeah,
everything.
we were right in front of Joseph Redwine. I saw you right in the middle. I knew.
That's a whole nother conversation. That's because I do what I do, and he did a great job with it. But yes, that stressed me out way more than my own personal project I was doing. I had a blast doing my project. He stressed me the hell out because I wanted to get in there and do it for him and show
Oh,
him.
Yeah.
I fully understand that.
Yeah, that was so hard to watch.
Just having
I
like the guys work with us. I had the one kid start doing something, and I'm like, no, 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 get out of here, and I had to stop him. You're not doing
I
it
do
right.
every day. I always do that to my employees. I'm like, nope, get out of the way. I'll just do it anyway. But yeah, no, that was, I love seeing all my students doing these things and seeing what they're going through and seeing their stress and wishing that I could just step in and help them and seeing things. Sometimes I see, especially with Joseph, I mean, I saw the end result before he even saw, as soon as he showed me what he was doing, I saw the end result probably farther than he did. I couldn't get him there. I couldn't get him to see what I saw, and we're going to work on that. But that's the one thing about having your students there and watching them go through all of that and going, no, 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 it's your turn. I got to let you go through these things. You're going to figure out on your own, and you're going to be able to take these things to job sites too. It's not just in a competition. These things that you're learning in these stressful moments, in these hardcore timelines and deadlines and everything, you will use in everything you do also. You will take this information and you will incorporate that into your business to an extent, one way or another, whether you realize it or not. And I know that that's going to help him move forward even faster because he took that sacrifice, he made that commitment, he went for it, and he did the best he could in that time period.
Yeah.
And it is what it is from that point on. It's not your fault you didn't win. You know, it doesn't mean you didn't do the right thing. Someone has to win and someone has to lose. It is what it
Right.
is. It's just a
Yeah,
great time being a part of it, and
yeah,
and it, to me, it was hard not to be a part of it for once. But I love
yeah.
how that all happens, and it's fun to watch. But I was so stressed out watching his of all of it.
Yeah. We set out right from the beginning and we were just like, we want to make something that we're going to be proud of no matter what happens. I don't care if I win, I don't care if I lose. We want to make a piece that we can show forever. It's something that we wouldn't be able to make otherwise because nobody's going to pay us to make it. And we want to have fun and make something really cool. That was it. That's all we wanted to do. And we did it.
I think we accomplished that.
Yeah, I think you did too. I really do, and I know that everybody was talking about it. You know, it was all about, and I've said this on the show. You've heard me say it. It was either going to be the Chuck or the Simpsons. It wasn't going to be both. Because either you were voting for both of them and knocking both of them down, or you were voting for one over the other. It was hard to vote for both. It was just, especially with you side by side. Maybe if
Yeah.
you'd been on the opposite side of the room, it might have given them a second to think about it. Who knows? But when you're standing there going, it, I just think it kind of made it harder for both of you because it's
Yeah.
almost a choice kind of thing at that point, and that could be just a defining difference between the two, honestly. But with that said, thank you very much. This has been great. I knew it was going to be a crazy journey. I knew we were going to have a lot of fun, and I really appreciate watching you guys as artists too. It's always great to see other people being so creative in our industry and understanding that there's so much more out there that we can do as artists. I love concrete, but that's not the only thing we do. And there's so much more you can do. All of everybody listening, everybody that loves concrete, the more creative you are, the more things you're going to do, the more happiness you're going to have. You know, you don't need to
Right.
just do one thing as an artist. There's so many things you can take what you learn from this and move into other forms of art. And that's really, to me, one of my biggest goals. And that's why I got into concrete. You know, that's why I was a professional dancer for years and performed in front of thousands of people. And that's why I went to art school. And, you know, I wrote poetry for years too. And now I'm in decorative concrete. There's so many different ways to create and have fun creating that's why I wanted to have this today. And that's why I wanted to talk to you guys, because it's not just another concrete company. You guys are doing all forms of creation in a construction point of view. And that's awesome. So I really appreciate you spending the time with me. And I look forward to the next time we talk, now that we, I guess, are sort of a little bit more friendly now. Now we know each other more. There's no
Right.
alleged conversation that I don't remember happening. Like, now it's proof. So
Yeah.
I look
We can
forward.
flag you down now.
Yeah, right.
I look forward to seeing you guys next year, and I look forward to talking to you more about all this stuff. And just thank you very much for your time, and have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.